episode 456 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I'll be talking about tonight's episodes of Impact Wrestling on Access TV and Ring of Honor Wrestling on Honor Club. Right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. Welcome to 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 456 on this Thursday evening. And tonight we will be talking about Impact Wrestling on Access TV and tonight's episode of Ring of Honor on Honor Club. And let's get right into it. I'm Lance Brock. Thank you for tuning in tonight to 360 Wrestling Fanatic. And let's start off with Impact Wrestling this week. And first, I just want to say, luckily, that 2-week streak that was going on there of me, anyway, having problems with Impact Wrestling at the end of the show, like I have talked about here on the podcast the last 2 weeks now. Luckily, did not have any problems tonight and got to see the full show uninterrupted. In tonight's Impact Wrestling, this episode was once again taped in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, at the St. Clair College Sportsplex. Our commentators, Tom Hannafin and Matthew Raywalt. And we start things off this week on Impact Wrestling with the Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion Trinity. First time teaming with Danny Luna from Subculture to take on the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Tag Team Champions in a non-title match. The Coven, Taylor Wilde, and Kylie King. And this one I thought was actually a pretty good match. I'd say 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. I'd give this one pretty good one here. I was a little surprised to see Trinity and Danny Luna working together as a team, but they actually did work pretty well together though. And we have a loser leaves Impact Wrestling match. Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice. And this one, kind of more of a comedy match, but not too bad. And at one point, Swinger looks like he's going to walk away, and Zicky Dice actually tries to talk him out of it. And Johnny Swinger, that old school WWF little mini ring they used to have for the entrances, he said it was Zicky Dice's time. So it's your time, kid. And he was going to let him ride in the little mini ring. But then he turned on him, attacked him, and then took him in the ring and got the win over Zicky Dice. So Johnny Swinger stays in Impact Wrestling, and it is Zicky Dice who is now leaving. Not sure if he actually is leaving Impact or if this is just part of a storyline. We'll just have to wait and see. Next up, Giselle Shaw, the quintessential diva, with Jay Vidal and Savannah Evans in her corner, take on Masha Slamovich, along with her new partner, Killer Kelly. And this one, pretty good match. Giselle Shaw getting the win. I'd say 2.5 out of ring, 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. And the match before, Swinger and Dice, I'd say, it was, like I said, it wasn't really that serious of a match. I'd say 1.5 out of 5 ring bells. But this one, though, 2 out of 5 ring bells. And the Time Splitters are in action. Alex Shelley and Kushida defeat Moose and Brian Myers, the most professional wrestling gods. Pretty good match here. I'd say 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. And speaking of Alex Shelley, got a little bit of news about the Impact World Champion to discuss. But I will get to all the news going on in the pro wrestling world after I finish recapping Impact Wrestling and then Ring of Honor. So stay tuned to the end of the podcast for the news. And Zachary Wentz with his Rascals tag team partner Trey Miguel defeat Speedball Mike Bailey. And before I rate this match, the Time Splitters. Oh, yeah, I did that one right. Yeah, sorry. I have a bad memory in my old age. But Zachary Wentz and Speedball Mike Bailey, really good match here, I thought. Definitely a big fan of these two. 3.5, or 3, not just 3, out of 5 ring bells. And in the main event, Eric Young taking on the National Treasure, Nick Aldis. Good main event this week. Eric Young getting the win. And I'd say 3 out of 5 ring bells for the main event. So, overall, I would say, as a whole show, had some pretty good wrestling. And just like a few matches on tonight's show, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and say 3 out of 5, or, sorry, there I go messing up again. Probably maybe 7 out of 10 ring bells as a whole show. See, I even forgot my whole ring system. And that was Impact Wrestling for this week. And now let's move on over to Honor Club for this week's episode of Ring of Honor Wrestling. Our commentators, Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman. And we start off with a video package focusing on last Friday night's Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. And we start in the in-ring action, I should say. Josh Woods taking on Eli Isom in a pure wrestling rules match. And we have a special judge for this one, and it is Katsuyori Shibata, the current Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Really good match here, I thought, to start off Ring of Honor on Honor Club this week. And it is Josh Woods getting the win, defeating Eli Isom. Really good match to kick off the show. 3 out of 5 ring bells from me. And Trish Adora in action next takes on Vita Von Star. Adora gets the win. Big fan of Trish Adora. Thought she has been doing very well as of late on Ring of Honor. And 2.5 out of 5 ring bells for this match. And 6-man tag team action up next. The Iron Savages and Jack Jameson taking on the Embassy, Big Bill and the Gates of Agony, or Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. Sorry about that. But pretty good match here. Cage and the Gates of Agony get the win, representing the Embassy. I'd say 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. And next up we have a women's division proving ground match. The Ring of Honor Women's Champion Athena taking on Christina Marie. And before the match though, we get a pretty good interview from Athena in the back with Lexi Nair. And this is pretty much, I don't know if I'd really say squash match, but not really much of a match. Athena gets the win in this proving ground match. I'd say 2 out of 5 ring bells. Not bad though. Athena, once again, looking very impressive as the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. Next up, tag team action. Rhett Titus and Tracy Williams taking on the Kingdom. Mike Bennett and Matt Taven with Maria Kanellis in their corner. And pretty good tag team match here, I thought, is the Kingdom getting the win when Taven pins Titus. I'll have to go with 3 out of 5 ring bells for this one. Pretty good match here. And next up, our next 4 matches are part of an ROH TV title eliminator tournament. And actually, let me see here. Yeah, this is where it started here. JD Drake taking on the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels. JD Drake representing the Workhorsemen, and Daniels, of course, a veteran in the business. These two have what I thought was a pretty good match here. Daniels, of course, a great worker in that ring. JD Drake looked very good as well. I'd say 3 out of 5 ring bells. Christopher Daniels gets the win to advance. And Big Bill and Lee Moriarty are in tag team action. And then next up, the TV title eliminator continues. Tony Nese taking on Cheeseburger. It's good to see Cheeseburger back in Ring of Honor. But in this one, it is Tony Nese getting the win to advance in the TV title eliminator. I'd have to go with 3 out of 5 ring bells for this one. And next up, we see the other half of the Workhorsemen in action now. Anthony Henry taking on Gravity, the younger brother of Bandito. Pretty good match here. I'd say 3 out of 5 ring bells. Bandito or Gravity getting the win. And Shane Taylor in action against Serpentico. Taylor gets the win. 2 out of 5 ring bells. Shane Taylor also advances. And in our main event tonight, we have a 6-person tag. Trustbusters, Sunny Kiss, Arya Davari, and Slim J take on Dalton Castle and the boys. And it is Dalton and the boys getting the win here. Pretty good main event. I don't know if I would really say it was a super great match or anything, but it wasn't really that bad either, though. I'd have to go maybe 2 out of 5 ring bells. So that was tonight's Thursday night pro wrestling lineup. Impact Wrestling on Access TV and Ring of Honor on Honor Club. Had some pretty good wrestling tonight. I wouldn't really say that any of it was real spectacular, but still pretty good. And now let's get on to a little bit of news. And we have a match announcement today that was made, and that is August 20th at the joint show between Impact Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling Multiverse United 2, for whom the bell tolls. It has now been announced that the Impact Wrestling World Champion Alex Shelley will be defending his title against Hiroshi Tanahashi. And all I have to say about this one, I am definitely looking forward to it. Shelley and Tanahashi, that could definitely be a great main event right there. Definitely 2 fantastic wrestlers. I'd have to say I don't really see Tanahashi walking out of this show as the Impact World Champion, but you never know. But like I said, one thing is for sure, I'm sure this will be a really good wrestling match. I think that's pretty safe to say. And Tyrus, the former Brodus Clay, wants a match against EC3 at NWA 75 for the NWA World Championship to be a bull rope match, and will retire if he loses. And WWE has announced that the next NXT Premium Live event will be No Mercy, September 30th in Bakersfield, California. So now it kind of seems like what they're doing is bringing back a lot of the old pay-per-view names and giving them to NXT to put on. Not that that's too bad of an idea. I don't mind it that much. And Leo Rush is out with an injury per GCW, and they have replaced him on an upcoming show. So that is it for all the news tonight. Thank you once again for tuning in to this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, leave your feedback for tonight's episodes of Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor in the comment section, either right here on Spreaker or on YouTube or whichever podcast website or app that you are listening to this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic on. We'll be happy to hear from you. And if you have a business or a product or anything you would like to advertise here on 360 Wrestling Fanatic, just let me know. Email me 360wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com, and hopefully we can work something out. I'll try to do a good ad for you here on the podcast. 360 Wrestling Fanatic, good morning wrestling fans, and I'll let you in on something. Not gonna say for sure what it is now, but something is coming. A new podcast to 360, and I won't say much more, but a new podcast could be coming soon. So not only will your ad be here on 360 Wrestling Fanatic, good morning wrestling fans, but if this new podcast does work out, there too. And if any of the other ones, you never know, kind of have stepped back from the unboxing videos to kind of save a little money. But if those ever come back, stay tuned for them. And also, if we ever bring back Unleashed and I can't even remember the other one. Oh, Watch With Me, if I ever do one of those again, right there too. So once again, email me 360 Wrestling Podcast for any ads for your business or company. We can hopefully work something out. And that's all for this episode. Hope to have another new episode coming up tomorrow night where I talk about WWE Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage. And then Saturday, AEW Collision. And this Sunday night, I know it is a PLE night. NXT has the Great American Bash on Peacock and the WWE Network. But I am definitely not going to promise a live episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, though. Not sure, but you never know. Definitely not promising a live episode after the Great American Bash, though, but just stay tuned just in case. And we'll talk to everyone tomorrow morning for Good Morning Wrestling fans, the Friday episode. So hope everyone had a great Thursday and enjoyed Impact and Ring of Honor tonight. And until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.